it could take me 3 hours to dress up and go out the door, 4 hours to take a shower, and 7 hours to tidy my small flat. A real foothold in life comes from embracing an extreme experience that becomes the unforgettable launchpad for your self-exploration journey. My personal starting point was rooted in obsessive-compulsive disorder. So in today's video, I want to tell you my personal story about facing OCD and recovering my mind from it, give you some tips if you have the same problem, and paint my new artwork dedicated to this disorder.
I don't wanna, but I know I gotta do it. The truth is hard to swallow. I think I'll chew it.
I encountered obsessive-compulsive disorder in 17 when I was in high school preparing for entrance exams for admission to the university. Before that, I was a straight A student for 11 years of school, so I couldn't see any difference between me and my marks and achievements. That's why the admission period was extremely stressful for me and felt like an exam not for a single place at university, but for my right to live. There my first symptoms of OCD appeared. I started to create rituals that didn't have any logical explanation, but they could calm me down for a while. And I wouldn't call this process really conscious or controllable. Obsessions and compulsions are two main patterns that people with obsessive-compulsive disorder have. Obsessions are repetitive thoughts that cause a lot of anxiety, and compulsions are certain actions that reduce this stress. In my personal case, compulsions could be disclosed through a certain physical action or a prohibition. For example, in high school, I started to put dots after every single word or sentence in my tests and notes. I also could repeat certain words and phrases dozens of times in my mind. At the same time, I forbade myself to listen to music and stopped to swear, even in my head. So why does it happen? Never ends and only grows over time. Because if you have OCD, you live with constant anxiety and feeling of guilt. Mostly they're caused by situations where you try to control something important what you are not able to control. At the same time, you're convinced that everything in life is up to you, so your brain creates an illusion of control in the form of rituals. There is no logic in them, but you strongly believe they can help. And if you don't do them, stress of your nervous system grows very fast, so you can have even a panic attack. Schematically, OCD cycle includes 5 steps. An obsession, for example, if I don't wash this plate 5 times in a row, I won't get into the university. Here you could think that this statement is crazy and irrational, and you would be right. But instead, you have such a sharp increase in anxiety that it makes you do the next step, and that is performing a ritual or following a prohibition you came up with for yourself. In our case, you have no choice but to wash this plate 5 times in a row. It gives you a short-term relief caused by an illusion of control, and then shame and feeling of guilt come back to you. And this vicious cycle repeats hundreds of times, and it feels impossible to ever break it. But preparation for exams was only the first stage. My illness worsened when the waiting of exams result started, and especially when ranking lists of people entering the university were published. My position in those lists could change in any second for several weeks. This situation was much more uncontrollable than preparing for exams, so I literally went off the rails with anxiety. At the height of the disorder, I've almost forbidden myself to eat and sleep for more than 4 hours a night. Of course, it caused a lot of problems with my health I'm dealing with to this day. As a result, about 90% of my time was spent on empty and illogical rituals that just helped me to relax my nervous system. It could take me 3 hours to dress up and go out the door, 4 hours to take a shower, and 7 hours to tidy my small flat. Of course, there were preconditions for the development of OCD in my childhood. I'm sure you all had the same irrational beliefs during your life, but as you see, if you find yourself in a terribly stressful situation with no ability to control anything, these harmless thoughts can lead you in a trap. If you are already trapped in your thoughts, then the first thing I can tell you about is a book that helped me a lot. It's called The Complete OCD Workbook, a step-by-step guide to free yourself from intrusive thoughts and compulsive behaviors, written by Scott Gradit. But to be realistic, obsessive-compulsive disorder is built a little bit different than other disorders, just because the rituals your brain creates and the reasons why it does it are very individual. From my experience, recovery of OCD for 95% depends on you working alone with your thoughts and rituals. By the way, Scott mentions it at the beginning of the book. But in this book, you can find a lot of techniques that can ease your work on eliminating compulsions that help me too. It's the fact that you can reduce impact of obsessions and compulsions only gradually. It does take time, but with your patience, it will be worth it. In my life, it looked like that. Yesterday, I touched my bag 8 times before opening it. Today, 7 times. Tomorrow, it might be harder, and I will open my bag 8 times again. Sooner or later, I won't do it anymore, and even a thought about it will stop to come to my mind. The main thing is not to stop until the ritual is completely gone. I promise you, it's definitely possible despite how it seems in the moment. So be gentle with yourself and don't put pressure on yourself. Yes, at first you should take time for each ritual separately, but over time your mind and your nervous system will recognize rituals as a waste of your time. The process will speed up and you'll find it much more easier to let all of them go. So it's time to say the most important thing in this video. Defeating OCD and the journey you take to defeat it require you to completely change your relationships with yourself, and as a result, recovery process changes your entire life. Before the disorder, I was an absolutely different, impulsive person and had no contact with myself and no understanding what is going on inside of me. OCD was the beginning of my self-exploration journey that now became the main sense of life for me. Without facing it, I would never study psychoanalysis. That is the number one thing I can recommend to you if you faced any mental disorder, because all my videos about human inner world are based on insights from the science. And I hope the gouache painting we were working on in this video resonates with you a lot if you faced OCD. I made a fragile princess in unbearably heavy armor, the main character. The vibrant red color, hot and dry air in the field, moon instead of sun, as a symbol of the unconscious mind, accurately convey the emotional state that a person with obsessive-compulsive disorder has. The princess took off her helmet to breathe a little bit. That represents hope I tried to give you in this video. The original gouache artwork is available for $40. You can find all my links in the description box. I hope this video helped, or at least motivated you to continue your journey and to look at your mental disorder as an ability to start a new chapter in your relationships with yourself. So grateful for all time and attention you gave me. Thank you for watching. Bye.